Welcome to New Hampshire's Business. I'm Fred Coker. There are employees out of work across the country and in New Hampshire with long COVID, certain symptoms that just won't go away. Is this a disability, and how should employers handle it? My guest will explain. Here's the COVID impact to date. Americans positive for COVID, 302 million in the U.S., 378,428 in New Hampshire. Long COVID in the U.S., 16.3 million, up to 35 million in one report. Projected to be out of work, 4 million people. That means annual lost wages, productivity reduced. And what does this mean for COVID employee and employer? Employee time off accommodation is necessary. Leave may be indefinite. For the employer, time off accommodation could involve Family Medical Leave Act and Americans with Disability Act. That's an illegal arena. With me to walk through this is James Reedy, who is the chair of the Labor and Employment Practice at Sheen, Finney, Bass & Green law firm in Manchester, Boston, Portsmouth, Upper Valley, and Boston. Welcome.
Thanks, Fred.
Nice to have you here.
Nice.
You just gave a presentation to the Society for Human Resource Management at a conference in Washington, D.C. Obviously, this has become a national issue for both employees and employers, including in New Hampshire.
Absolutely. And I think that the issue there is, if you think back to the last major pandemic we had was the Spanish flu, 1918. It took, from the end of the pandemic, at least 3 years to get back to normal. What's different this time is long COVID.
Yep. Long
COVID, these lasting health effects that can go on for days, weeks, months, and longer.
Just as an information point, here's long COVID. Has one or more of these conditions: respiratory, cardiovascular, circulatory, neurological, mental, and emotional. How much of the long COVID are we aware of in New Hampshire? Is there a number?
They say as many as 60% of those that tested positive for COVID have the lasting effects of long COVID.
Wow. Wow. You say an employer needs to be aware that an employee with long COVID may need not only leave from work, but help with the Americans with Disability Act. So the question is this a disability?
Well, there's only one court so far that has decided that and recognized long COVID as a disability. However, the other things that you just mentioned, neurological symptoms, respiratory symptoms, musculoskeletal, and so on, those could be disabilities. And the question ultimately then is, can the person perform the job with some sort of accommodation?
Now, you have some suggestions for employers. You have a lot of employers as clients. These are some of the suggestions you would make to them. And here they are. Just a few of them. Request medical information. That's an obvious. Update leave and accommodation policies. Follow legal developments. Update job descriptions. And engage in the American Disability Act interactive process. What's that? The
interactive process is the back and forth, like you and I are talking today. So what is your condition? How does it impact the job? What do you need from us, if anything? And providing medical proof, and then talking about duration. And duration is important because you mentioned one thing, and that was indefinite leave. Generally speaking, indefinite leave is something that has not been accommodated because it's indefinite, it's long-term, and it could have an adverse impact upon the workplace. So that discussion, that back and forth. And the other thing to remember is one back injury is not the same as a back injury. One disease is not the same as next. So it has to be an individualized assessment.
A lot of uncertainty surrounding this long COVID and what it is and how to identify it, different from person to person, perhaps. What's the one major thing that an employer ought to look at first?
I think the most important thing is to have a discussion with the employee, understand what he or she might need and what the impact is upon the workplace, but not making certain assumptions based upon other conditions or what might be on the web and so on, but having that discussion, getting some medical proof, and making a well-reasoned decision.
Thanks to James Reedy, who is chair of the Labor and Employment Practice at Sheen, Finney, Bass & Green in Manchester and all over the state and in Boston. Thank you. And if you missed part of this briefing on long COVID, you can go to WMUR.com where it will be posted all this week.